What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Fanatics. I am your host, Ferran, here again with my man Vito. And today, pretty anticipated review for me at least, because I've been waiting for this show for a long time. And that is Daredevil Born Again, which is essentially just a continuation of the Daredevil Netflix show after watching the first two episodes. First two episodes dropped. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we're getting 9 total this season,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So lot of speculation and kind of fans were wondering what we were really going to get from this show. When it was first announced, it was announced that we were getting 18 episodes, and it was we were getting Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox back, but like they were just going to be reprising the roles. The characters were going to be different. They weren't going to follow the backstory from the Netflix shows for real. And then at some point through that process, they decided to do some extensive reshoots.
Because that was stupid.
Yeah, because like, why would you recast them and not, or why would you cast them as those characters again and not continue their story when the previous show was so successful? What do I know? And I guess they listened and decided, you know what? Since we already have the blueprint of this working, why not just continue that instead of trying to reinvent the wheel? And 2 episodes in, I'd say they made the right decision so far. I'm really liking the way they've reintroduced us to these characters. It feels you feel that it's connected to the original show, but it also feels different at the same time, which I appreciate. There's a lot of different angles they're taking things, some different things they're doing with characters we've already seen, and also some shocking moments that occurred about 2 minutes in. So we got a little bit of everything for these first 2 episodes. But Vito, I'll let you go ahead and give some of your initial thoughts.
All right, so I'm sorry.
We just getting off work, y'all. Forgive us.
First 2 episodes, I liked it. All right. The first episode kind of jumped right into it, and then it kind of fell back for a minute, which is fine. It's setting up that story. It kind of let us know what everybody was doing for a moment there, and like I said, the first two or 3 minutes starts off with a bang, and then there's a time jump. There's a time jump of about a year. All right. I will say that opening, that first 2 minutes, outside of what happened to Foggy, I did not think was good. The CGI
Okay.
was not there. That fight choreography for that opening scene with Bullseye was not great. I'm not gonna say it was bad. It was okay.
Okay.
But like from what we've had from
that was gonna be my next question. Is you might be grading it on a curve.
Daredevil and the Netflix
yeah
action scenes, it is not there at all. And like I said, what really did it for me was that when he was chasing him or looking for him on a roof to chase him, the CGI just looked bad. It's bad. And we said the same thing about Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like the beginning, like they were just lazy with the CGI, because after that, you know, again, he's not in a suit at this point, but after that, throughout the rest of the show, you know, it's better, it's so much better. But that opening scene, the CGI was terrible. That scene with them fighting in a bar, it was good. It was good. I don't think they really gave us a reason for him doing it, and I'm fine with that because I don't know if I'm fine with it yet. I'll wait till episode 9 comes out and we see it and see if that plays a bigger role into what's going on. Because again, you know, we know the Kingpin is not a changed man who's not a mayor of New York City, and I don't know. Something just tells me he had something to do with it. He said he didn't. I don't believe him. And I can't remember. Did Bullseye know who Daredevil was at the end of the last season?
I'm trying to remember season 3 now. It's been a while since I watched it. I don't know if he knew Daredevil's secret identity.
Okay.
But I do remember in season 3, he directly crossed paths with at least Karen and I believe Foggy as well.
Okay.
So that's why, to your point about like why was he trying to kill well, spoilers. why was he trying to get to Foggy in the first place? Like my thought was, because Foggy mentioned he had somebody stashed away who Daredevil or Bullseye was trying to get to, or who Bullseye had a problem with. So I'm guessing at some point along the line, Foggy just got added to the Bullseye op list.
Wait, did he say it was because of Bullseye?
He didn't say it was because of Bullseye. I made that connection because Bullseye was the one hunting them.
Well, so I didn't think that. He said somebody was looking for me, this and that. But then when he's talking to him on the phone, he's like, he left the guy alone.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to know where you
were. Yeah.
I'm looking for you. And it was odd to me because how the fuck do you know where I'm at?
Yeah.
Why would you tell this motherfucker where you going?
And I got you stashed in my crib. Like, what the hell?
So ultimately, so he was already looking for Foggy. That's where I was. I'm gonna go back and watch it. Just at least that first episode or so, because I'm also still watching the Netflix shows on Disney Plus, and I'm on Jessica Jones season 2 at this point. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the case had to do with. I don't think the case had to do with Bullseye. I think Bullseye was just either he had it out for the cops, because also remember it was a cop's retirement, so it was a bunch of cops there.
That is a good point too.
Yes. He was not just trying to kill Foggy, because he got Foggy when he started it off,
and then went in there and just wreaked havoc
and continued to do what he did. So yeah. I don't know what the reasoning was. I hope they don't just. I hope they don't do that and just be like, "Oh, that's it," because even at his trial, he didn't say anything. He was like, "It's quiet the whole time." So, hopefully, there's some type of answer to it. If not, I'm gonna drop my points down a little bit for that. But
yeah, we know you need reasoning and character motivation for sure. But it's a fair point though, because Foggy, if you just watch this show, you like, well, oh well. But if you watched the Netflix shows, the Netflix iteration of this show, you understand how important of a character Foggy is, and how deep his connection to Matt Murdock / Daredevil is. That's his best friend. So for them to make that decision first scene into the show
immediately,
I agree. We, as an audience, it would be nice to have some sort of explanation as to how we got there and why Bullseye felt the need to target specifically Foggy. I would agree with you there. That felt very, because you're right. The fact that he was targeted is what makes it like,
because it wasn't an accident. He wasn't killed in a robbery. He wasn't killed in a car accident. Again, I feel like, and honestly, I didn't think we were going to get that year off break of Daredevil. I thought it was going to be him going into the killer Daredevil. I thought he was really about to get the devil of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And it kind of hinted at it a little bit when he got Bullseye when he finished it. He fucking dropped my man's off a roof, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's dead. This nigga's dead.
I thought it was a wrap.
But again, I don't know. Are they trying to say this nigga's a mutant or something? Because in the third season, this same shit happened where he should have been dead.
What happened in the third season? Remind me.
He got his whole back broken and shattered and shit somehow.
Opposite of Resume, but I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember what episode that was. Was that the fight with Fisk?
I don't think so, but I can't.
See, now, I gotta go back and watch. See, now I gotta go back and watch that.
The episode with Fisk was towards
the
end.
Yeah, that was a triple threat match. Match.
No, that was. It might have been.
It was like the three of them fighting each other. It was like Daredevil, Fisk, and Bullseye.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of people in the show who would have been strong enough to injure him that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't see anybody other than Fisk being strong enough to do that.
I did like the back and forth. Like I said, I didn't enjoy that opening fight scene with them as much, especially inside the bar. But it got better as they left the bar and started going to the rooftop and throughout it, and it's good. It's funny because you see you see the comparison of them. Now he needs to be able to see to be as precise as he is.
Daredevil doesn't.
Daredevil doesn't. But you also see Daredevil is not. He's not hitting. He's not getting all this stuff. He's not as precise as Bullseye is. He's precise as shit. We know he is, but not as much as Bullseye is with this. And again, Matt Murdock doesn't need his eyes, so you'll see. You see when they're fighting in the hallway, he throws his little baton stick. He throws it at the light, knock it off the wall. Now, again, you right behind me on the steps. I just gotta throw this shit back. But I think he I started laughing because he punched somebody at the top of the steps. I'm like, yo,
bro, he was just indiscriminately just bullying civilians.
So that's why I'm like, did he was his whole did he have a beef against these officers? For some reason,
we don't know. We don't know because he was just indiscriminately just assaulting people. We don't know.
Again, when he killed Foggy, he could have left, but he went in there. He was even fighting off Daredevil. He was still trying to kill people.
Yes, while fighting Daredevil.
And again, like I said, those knife throws inside that smoke, inside that bar, the CGI on it was fucking terrible to me. It was terrible. Now, is it the worst thing I've ever seen? No, but to Marvel, that shit was bad. That was very bad. But then, like I said, the rest of the episode really goes off. No issue. I enjoyed the first episode again for setting it up what it is. If you got more thoughts on the first episode, we can go with that because the second episode is really where, again, the second episode is really where the hook came in.
I would agree. Yeah,
watching the first episode, I can be like, all right, bro, I can go to sleep. I don't need no more tonight. But really? That second episode, just the entire thing of it, especially the end, really you like, yeah.
I would agree. The second episode drives the story forward more.
Yeah.
To me, the first episode felt more of a reintroduction into this world. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head when Daredevil season 3 came out, the Netflix iteration, but it was several years ago. And long enough to where even people like you or me who watched that original Netflix version of the show, we remember the key moments, but our memory is kind of spotty on where these characters are right now and what their lives look like. So to me, this was episode 1 was just kind of a reintroduction. All right, it's been a while since you guys have seen these characters. Let's try to introduce where they are now, kind of show you where their lives are at the current moment. And then from there, we'll start to tell this new original story we want to tell with them. But first, we got to acknowledge the fact that these characters have a past that you all witnessed 3 seasons of and kind of give you an idea of what their lives look like now. So I appreciated that aspect of episode 1. And also the opening fight scene, I actually didn't mind. I actually was kind of surprised it got right to it like that, honestly.
It was, I'm sorry, it was Fisk that broke his back. That's how
it was. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, no one else in the show would be strong enough to do that.
But I'm just not remember. Okay, they there's a disconnect still because how did he get from them fixing his back on the surgery table and him recovering to where he's at now?
Yeah, I mean, once again, though, we don't know how much time has passed since the end of season 3 up until now. It could be 5, 6, 7 years for all we know. We just have no idea. And they don't really clarify that, honestly, in this first episode. But back to the bar scene, I actually didn't mind it. I agree with you. It's not the best fight choreography we've gotten out of a Daredevil project, especially this, the stuff we got from season 2 and season 3 as far as fight choreography, and then I'm pretty sure the one take hallway fight scene was season 1, if I'm not mistaken. So we're not getting anything like that so far, but that's top tier fight choreography, right? So the fact that it didn't hit,
thing, man, it's
it didn't. I'm not going to judge it because it didn't hit that bar we hold that in high regard for a reason because it's top notch.
But you got the first season fight scene, you got the second season fight scene with with the Punisher.
Second season has some phenomenal.
You got the fight scene with the Punisher against the Daredevil. Then you got the Daredevil doing his fights to Punisher. So the second season has some bangers in it as well.
Yeah, second season fight choreography is crazy.
It just progressed, and even with Poindexter, Bullseye fighting. Again, the fight between him, fucking Daredevil, and Kingsman was fucking ridiculous. You got one guy trying to take the 2 guys down. You got the other guy trying to just survive.
Yeah.
But also trying to kill them. But then you got the one whose whole job is just to kill him. You know, that's Bullseye. And again, the biggest thing was it was the CGI, man. Like I said, the bar scene wasn't that bad, but the CGI made it that bad to me. And that's really what it was. The fighting wasn't that bad, but the CGI for it, like you can see it, and like at certain points in it, it looked like it was undone.
Yeah, I can understand that opinion. For me, I didn't think the CGI looked that bad once again, but I feel like in some cases with shows like this, it gets graded on a curve by a lot of
Oh, it's
people.
definitely graded on the curve.
Yeah, it's graded on a curve, right? Because you're comparing it to the greatness that came before. So like in this case I try to just view it in a vacuum. Like I thought the fight choreography in the first that first bar fight scene was decent enough. It felt like Daredevil. The punches felt impactful. Like it actually felt like these guys like actually just scrapping for real. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel too choreographed to me. It felt like the Daredevil fight scenes we got before, just not at the highest fight choreography quality, right? It felt more raw and realistic, I guess is a better way to say it, outside of Bullseye just doing things with deadly accuracy. um, and I think the CGI didn't bother me per se. But like that also wasn't like a thing that I was paying that much attention to in that scene because there was just so much going on.
Yeah.
And then I thought the way you kind of saw that scene progress of seeing I don't know why I'm forgetting her character's name. Deborah Ann Wool is the actress's name.
You're talking about Karen Page?
Yes, Karen. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know her real name. You talking about?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why I know the actress's name, not the character's name, but yes, Karen.
That at all.
Yeah, Karen. Like kind of seeing the scene was really like two battles going on at once of Karen trying to save Foggy, and then Daredevil trying to address Bullseye, who just wreaked havoc on Josie's. I thought that was a great way to start because you added a shock factor of people like you and I who watched the original Netflix show. Most people watching this watch the original Netflix show. And for a lot of us, it's like, whoa, they just actually did that. Like first opening episode, they just did that. So now you've already added a shock factor in episode 1. You've now given both you gave us a shock factor. B, you gave us, I thought, a pretty decent fight scene. And C, which is the most important part, you set up something that allowed us to get fresh and new characters into the show.
Yeah.
Love Foggy and Karen, right? But we've seen Foggy and Karen's story with Matt Murdock already. So now that we're introducing largely the same characters, but with a new story, how do we make it feel different? We take the old characters that you know and love, maybe kill one off, maybe have one go away for a while, so that we can put Matt Murdock now into a new situation with characters you're not as familiar with. It gives us a little more leeway to tell different stories and not necessarily be beholden to what these characters have experienced before, because they have a lot of backstory. Yeah. Foggy has a lot of backstory at this point. Karen, they've dived deep into her backstory. We know a lot about her character now. So just based on the things we saw in season 2 and especially in season 3. So if you were trying to give us a show that just didn't have that much baggage of what came before, but still kind of keeping the spirit of what the show is, I in hindsight, now that I've had some time to sit with it, I think that was actually a very good decision how they decided to open it, because it immediately hooks you and gives the show creators kind of like an out in terms of creating a new, more fresh and authentic story versus having to be a little more beholden to, the characters that we've seen before. We get to tell stories with some different characters now, some new people. So that's kind of my main take on episode 1. Episode 2, I agree with you. That's where. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I do want to talk about. He was still Daredevil at the end of season 3. He was still actively Daredevil.
Yes.
So when this one opens, he's Daredevil less, I'm gonna say, because Foggy says, I didn't tell you what was going on because I didn't want to give you a reason.
But you see, he immediately went and did it though. So that's why I was like, he had to have been somewhat still active.
He was active, so he was. We know he's still active, but now I'm thinking about, his relationship with Karen. Because within that year, and she kind of says like, "Oh, you disappeared when I needed you, this and this."
Yeah.
But he also says like, my friend died. This was the first I had to get, and he wasn't being Daredevil when that happened. When he let his mask drop, that was the last time. That was the last time he was Daredevil. you know. So she's freaking out about this. I'm like, yo, his best friend just died for like 15 years. You've only known these two niggas for like 3 years. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
No, it's a fair point. Like
she says it like my friend died too. I'm like, it's like she didn't take account that his best friend died.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
so it was just
it's an
odd.
interesting dynamic though. You're right, because like yes, because especially for Karen, because she was the one that was actually with him and watched him die. So for her, I'm sure it hits a little different as well. But to your point, like Matt and Foggy go back well before they ever met Karen Page. So, you know, his grieving process is probably a lot different than hers. And I don't think, I agree, she probably didn't acknowledge that as well. But I feel like there were other things off camera because keep in mind a year passed.
Yeah. And
so a lot of things could have happened off
see.
camera that we don't know that caused that relationship to be as strained as it was. Because you notice she doesn't even live in New York anymore.
She's in San Francisco with She-Hulk.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? It's like things are just different now as far as like what their relationship looks like, and we don't necessarily have outside of that incident. We don't have all the backstory of what happened other than that one conversation.
Yeah.
So
because go ahead.
No, and I think it was like I said, a smart way to you keep Karen a part of the spirit of the show. You don't necessarily want to keep her completely gone after that scene, but you also allow, all right, this is sort of these two characters going their separate ways for right now. And you might see Karen Page later on down the line, you might not, but the rest of the story is going to be Matt Murdock interacting with newer side characters. We don't want to just give you a whole bunch of what you already saw in the Netflix show.
Yeah, and you know I'm fine with that as well. I like it. I like I said with that time jump, it's so much that changes, and I think like you said that opening scene was a good way to acknowledge how all this happened because they could have opened it with it just being that time jump, and you like okay, well what happened to Foggy, and they could have been like Foggy died, you know. So it's good to see it like you said for returning viewers. And then I think we end episode 1 with Buddy going to jail, right?
Episode one ends with you're talking about Bullseye, right? Not who
no. From the subway attack.
White Tiger. I don't know why I feel like that was episode 2. I feel like that was episode 2.
How did one end? Because 1 was long as hell.
1 was like an hour. Yeah, I think one ends with Fisk winning the mayor. Okay. Yeah, one ends with Fisk winning the election. And then like the celebration they were having in the street, and Daredevil kind of walking through.
Yeah. They do give us backstory on Vanessa and Fisk. Fisk just comes into the room. Vanessa's handling Kingpin business. Vanessa is legitimately the Kingpin.
Like thoroughly though. Like you saw the room got quiet when she walked in. Everybody deferred to her. I was like, oh, she got it on lock.
Until the Kingpin walked in.
Yeah.
And he didn't say a word. Everybody, or he might. I think he did. Like I need. To
he said Vanessa. That's it.
Yeah, and everybody got up and walked out. And that was our introduction back into the Kingpin. And then we fall into episode 2.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because episode 2 is very Kingpin heavy, and it very much it really focuses on. It's weird because like it almost feels like the show wants you to believe he's having this internal conflict to be a better person, but it never feels genuine. Like it like he says this like I think in one of this might have been episode 1, but he has a conversation with Vanessa like, hey, we have to have everything buttoned up. I can't be tied to anything illegal. I'm really trying to become a changed man. He even says that to Vanessa at the end of episode 1. He says, I've changed, or I'm a changed man. And she kind of looks at him. I think she says like, I'll believe it when I see it, or I want to believe that, or show me, or something along those lines. And it almost feels like he's trying to convince himself because he knows deep down, like, I'm still the Kingpin. I'm still Wilson Fisk at the end of the day. Even though I want to forget about the Echo show because it wasn't that great, the events of that show don't take place that far in the past from what we're viewing in this show right now because they reference that show.
And that's what I'm saying, like you said, where we don't get it. We don't get a time frame. So we don't know how far after this show ended, the Netflix shows ended, that Echo occurred.
Yeah.
Because Echo also took place in the past too. So it was a weird time frame where they was telling the stories from what happened before. But then, like I said, now what's the time frame between
Echo
Echo
and this.
and
Yeah.
this?
We're not entirely sure, honestly. They don't really give us time frames other than the time jump at the beginning of episode 1, but honestly, like, they reference Echo enough to where, like, all right, the however long those the events of that show happened, it was recent enough that they're still talking about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was recent enough. And if you've seen Wilson Fisk in that show, that man has no business being anybody's mayor. So to see him now on this journey of I'm changed and I'm not a criminal anymore and I'm not brutally murdering people in cold blood, I have a hard time believing that. And I think, not that I have a hard time believing that because I don't believe it at all, but I have a hard time believing that he is genuinely trying to make this change.
Yeah.
You can genuinely try to change and become a different person, but at the end of the day, your nature still comes out. I think his nature is just there, and he's trying to tell himself whatever he has to like calm himself while he's mayor, so he doesn't choke out the police commissioner while he's in his office or kill Ben Urich's niece. You know what I'm saying? Like,
to your point though about him being changed. So I watched a video about how he came up with the voice.
Yep.
And he basically said something like he's always speaking from a place of emotion. He's never emotionless.
Yes.
It's always a place of emotion.
Yes.
So if he's happy, there's a happy emotion. He's sad, angry. There's emotion. So he's always speaking with emotion. And even when he's having seemingly regular conversations, there's emotion in his voice, and you can hear it. And so to speak to what you were saying about again, we know who he is. We know he never changes, but he kind of lets a bit of it out. I think twice. The first time was when he sent his mans to get the signature. I'm like, you did that in an odd way. Yeah. It was very odd how you did it. And this guy is creepy as fuck too. That's not the same guy that was his
No, not the one. You talking about the one that Karen shot?
No, whoever his security, his butler was,
or his security person, like his top security person in the Netflix show. Is that you talking about? Karen for sure killed him.
Okay, so this guy is creepy. I think he takes that man's place, but he also, when the police commissioner comes in, because again, Mayor Fisk is the mayor. He got to appoint new people or keep people on, and police chief again. People know who he is, so the police department don't fuck with him. The majority of them don't fuck with him. We'll say the dirty ones do.
I was about to say the ones that are dirty are still loyal, but
so the police chief don't want to fuck with him. And when he comes in to give his letter of resignation, he's talking, and he lifts up while he's speaking, he lifts up a folder with the police commissioner. I don't know if that's his illegitimate child or something. He don't want it to come out.
Or that's what he made it sound like.
Or if he was threatening him.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like a threat, like, I'm going to kill your family.
Yeah.
This the diner you get your sandwich from. Look at him. And it was very, very, very inconspicuous, right?
Inconspicuous.
Correct. Because he doesn't say anything about the picture.
He doesn't have to.
He says, we went to this shop to get these Philly cheesesteaks. And while he's talking, he says, he lifts up the folder a few times. And when he sees it, the police commissioner's like, all right, I see what game we playing now. I see what game we playing. Because I'm thinking, in my mind, if I'm retiring. I'm the police chief. I don't, I probably, as a police chief for however many years he was police chief, he can probably do anything that he want and not be in politics. So like that secret coming out, it might hurt his family, but like politically, he gonna be good.
Yeah, he was resigning anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it was a threat or like you said, if he was saying, "Hey, I'm gonna let your secret out," because it wasn't very. It was very vague.
It was. The only thing you really have an idea on is I think Fisk said something like at the end of their conversation, like, I'm sure he doesn't want this child coming out or something. So it makes you believe like, okay, maybe that's just an illegitimate kid and maybe his wife doesn't know and he doesn't want that coming out and ruining his family. Like that could make sense. Because initially I agree when he lifted it up, I'm like, oh, we're back to threatening people again. Classic old Wilson Fisk. But no, we've gone from threatening to blackmail. Apparently, we'll see if we graduate back to threatening as the show progresses.
He's for sure. For sure.
Oh, he's gonna do more than he's gonna. Some people are gonna lose their lives at the hand of Wilson Fisk by the time we get to episode 9. Yeah, I'll put a parlay bet in on that.
Because outside of I mean, again, a lot happened in episode 2. You know, you had the subway attack, you had him defending himself, and the other guy, and again, you don't find out why the cops are really bad until the end.
Yeah, so going back to that scene though, the subway scene, because I kind of want to paint the picture a little bit. Like we see, just at the time a random person, because we don't know who the character is yet.
Right.
We see him walking down the subway. He sees 2 people assaulting somebody. He has no context of what's happening. Walks up, tries, I guess, to diplomatically break it up.
No, he said, "Stop, yo, leave that man alone."
Okay, but these are people in a New York subway whooping someone's ass. Yelling "stop" is not going to do anything.
I mean, it's witnesses here now, so when you see a witness, you're like, all right, shit, let's leave before we really get
Yeah, but the fact that they kept going should have told him something like, okay, these folks clearly don't care about someone seeing what they're doing, which should tell you something. So he goes in, starts whooping the cop's ass. And then one of them trips over him, falls into the tracks, gets hit by a train. Then the other person finally identifies themselves as NYPD. He gets arrested. Police do their thing where, you murdered a cop, so we're going to beat your ass in interrogation. We're going to beat your ass in interrogation. Matt Murdock overhears it, goes in, decides to be his representation. And off rip, you kind of knew something was up with this person because he handily whooped these 2 police officers' ass. Like, okay, whoever this person is, there's somebody, because they know how to fight too well. So there's some character in Marvel Comics is associated with who I'm watching right now. You don't know who yet, though. And then that's when Matt kind of sends his little new team that he has put together on an investigation. A detective that he's been working with, the same detective whose retirement party it was in the opening scene.
Who also figured out who he was.
Who also figured out that Matt Murdock is Daredevil.
For some reason, he did not hear him coming up the stairs.
Or he just didn't care.
I think it was more so he didn't care.
Yeah, he just didn't care in that moment, given the circumstances. So it's like I can explain that one away pretty easily. But once he kind of gets into his investigation, they visit. I believe it was his ex-wife's house or an ex-girlfriend.
I think it was his current wife.
Current wife. But they had been like
wasn't showing up to court.
Okay, she wasn't showing up to court. But like they were talking, the way she was talking about their relationship, it was like it was strained or like they were like in a rough patch. So he finds the white tiger suit, which we still don't in the show really have a lot of context on who this character is. He finds the white tiger suit.
All we know is he's a vigilante.
Yeah, that's all we know. He's a vigilante. Finds the white tiger suit, and now Matt has to work this case now under the pretense that, okay, I'm representing a vigilante in an era where A, he's accused of murdering 2 cops, and B, Wilson Fisk is now mayor targeting vigilantes. Right. So now that changes like the dynamics of this case a little bit. So that I just wanted to paint that picture, but I'll let you go ahead and go into your point, but just to kind of get into the nitty gritty of what we were talking about.
Yeah. So while that's happening, like I said, he says, I wasn't wearing my suit when it happened. I wasn't acting as a vigilante. Why is this important? And he says, I wasn't wearing my suit and I didn't have my powers. Mm-hmm. All right. And that's what I want to focus on. I did not have my powers from the mystical amulet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure again, it's only the second episode. We got 7 more to go. So they may go into detail about this.
I'm sure they will.
But it's just the fact that how they said it was like, we should already know that there are mystical powers in this thing.
Yeah. They did just casually drop that. Like, yeah, it's mystical amulet. I'm like, what?
Outside of the Iron Fist and the Hand, nobody had mystical powers. And no one even believed that the Iron Fist really had outside of the people that know them. That the Iron Fist has mystical powers. So it's very odd that he said it like that's just a normal thing. And again, even when you look at the greater MCU, you got the Scarlet Witch, and you have Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange.
And the
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch got her powers from experiments.
Yeah.
But this is like, no, this is my mystical amulet that gives me powers.
The reason why I don't mind is because at this point, and if you are a regular human being living in the MCU, there really shouldn't be anything that surprises you at this point. You've literally seen it all. You've seen aliens appear from a wormhole in space and invade New York. You witnessed a purple alien snap his fingers and wipe out half the population of the Earth. You witnessed a AI android try to destroy Earth with an asteroid. You like at this point,
this is my
nothing
point.
should surprise you if you live in the MCU.
None of that is mystical. Even Doctor Strange, most people don't even know who Doctor Strange or what he is. And in a series that run it to ground itself in semi-reality, this is a big jump.
Mystical powers is different for a Daredevil show.
That is a big, and I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying like how he explained it. Like he was just talking to him like, yeah, bro, I didn't even have my gun on me. It was at home.
Yeah, it's just like, he literally talked about it like it was something so casual.
Yeah, like it's very, and that was my point. Like he said, like it was very casual. And again, what Matt do? He said, but you should have told me. And I'm like, yo, are you not asking the right questions, bro? Like.
What you mean you got a mystical amulet?
Yeah. and nobody, and even the guy that's calling, he didn't even say, hey man, again, we didn't hear that conversation, but they meet, and what we didn't talk about, and I'm gonna get back to the White Tiger, because we should have known that was the White Tiger, because we knew he was in this show.
Yeah.
We didn't know how he was in the show, but we knew he was in there. But the relationship of his team. So now, before where it was just Matt, Karen, and Foggy, now you have Matt and I forget her name, but she used to work for the DA's office. Yeah. And they have a law firm. So there are other people working for him now. He's not in Hell's Kitchen anymore, and he still takes on cases that back to his roots of being a public defender. He's not a public defender, but he takes on those defense cases and whatnot.
Yeah, he still has that mindset in who he represents.
But you see the relationship between all of them. Again, we know he already knew these people, but now again with Foggy and Karen gone, his relationship is different. So when Cherry, the ex-cop, shows up, and she goes, "Hey, you're," I think she called him his button man or something, like Hatchet Man or something like that. So she doesn't even really fuck with him like that, is what I gather from that. Or again, because he knows his secret, I'm sure they're closer than him and her is.
Yeah.
But even with that, throughout episode 2, again, because again, it's a few holes in a Marvel universe. All right, you got Matt Murdock, you got Iron Man, you got She-Hulk, you got Mystique. Again, Matt Murdock gonna have sex with somebody during the season. It's gonna happen. Somebody we don't know. It's gonna happen. And we've been introduced to her. And she's gonna be again. I like the way they're introducing people, because they introduced her to us, but they also introduced 2 people that may be mute or Muse. The one I think is gonna be this guy that's that showed up to her book side and asked for an appointment.
I was wondering. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I was like, "That's going to be important later."
Yeah,
I don't know how.
Yeah,
that's going to be important later.
And I again, what they've been doing is they've been introducing people and not really showing their connections.
But then you see later on, you're right. They have introduced people very well, because it's been subtle, right? Like you'll get a scene, and then boom.
What's the guy's name working for Fisk? The guy just say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Oh yeah, the guy who was like, "I'm so honored to be working with you," and all
intern,
that.
Intern, I think he was an intern, but and I kind of veered off a little bit, but like the relationship between that Matt Murdock is having with people, and again, before you had 2 people that knew his secret and they were keeping him grounded. Now you have one person that knows his secret, at least that's he's around.
Yeah, that
You
he's
have one
actively
person that
with.
knows
Yeah.
his secret. And again, Cherry says it. He said, "Hey, you've been doing real good this last year, man. You ain't fell back into your old ways. You ain't did none of this. You ain't doing none of that. You're making a good life for yourself." And so you see that, okay, we kind of want you to be you and not this, because we seen in the first episode that he was retiring. That was one of the reasons he was retiring, was because shit, if I do something, I get a lawsuit. But then this motherfucker come out, he beat somebody ass, throw him in there, and
And
they
he
ain't kill him.
good.
Yeah.
He
So
good.
so he was retiring because of vigilantes. So
Yeah.
again, it's a Daredevil show. We know he's not going to be Matt Murdock throughout this entire show. So I'm wondering how his relationship with the other characters are going to go. And I know I'm jumping way ahead, and we ain't even talked about the biggest stuff of this, but I'm whether you see how his relationship with these other characters um, develop, as
Yeah, yeah.
well as, are we going to see Karen Page again, because they've been promoing like Foggy, Karen, and they were in
They
the
were all
entire
over the
season.
promo for sure.
So
Very misleading.
so when Foggy died in the first fucking 5 minutes, you like, oh shit. Even after he killed or he threw Buddy off the roof, I'm thinking Foggy's not dead. And then they go to court and he's
I'm
dead.
like, damn, Foggy's dead. Like I couldn't believe it. No, I actually couldn't believe it. I'll say, for episode 2, I think a lot of story progression was done, kind of like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
I think they were really starting to understand, or letting the audience understand, like where we're starting to take this story and some of the key plot points we want to touch on. Some quick points for me on episode 2. I really liked the more we got of Wilson Fisk and just kind of seeing him navigate the world of politics and what that looks like for him from the perspective of someone who is a career criminal and is now, holding public office, and what that looks like, and the conflict he's going through.
How
Don't you love?
reality
I was about to say how life
shaping,
imitates art,
shaping
huh?
fiction.
How life imitates art, boy.
Shit, art is imitating life at this
Life,
point.
yes, literally. And also, I think the story of sort of seeing the divide in the NYPD. You obviously see on one hand the police chief, who's obviously a man of what appears to be a man of strong values. You see a few chinks in the armor here or there, but overall an upstanding person who's trying to do the right thing. And then you see the complete opposite within his own department of police officers who are in a gang. They reference that because they, have the tattoos on there and are just wreaking havoc on regular civilians. Granted, we don't know who this mystery person is who they're trying to kill, but we know he's scared and in fear of his life because the police are coming to assassinate him. So I'm sure we'll get more backstory into him and who he is as the story progresses, but that does not negate what was an incredible ending scene of episode 2 when the police finally show up. Well, first Matt he finally finds the witness because he needs this person to testify that, hey, the police are lying and saying that my client attacked them unprovoked. I need you to come tell like a jury that he was defending you and you were being assaulted by these officers unjustly, and he came in to help save your life potentially.
Then this bitch ass ran off.
And then in his defense, Matt told him, "You have to go. They're coming."
Oh no, I'm talking about.
In the subway. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you got me there. But yeah. I thought you were talking about the ending scene, but no,
subway. I actually forgot. I forgot all about it till you just said it at the end.
Yeah, no, you're right. He for sure was like, "Oh, you got it. All right, well, I'm out." And then at the that scene, Matt comes in, tells him like, "Hey, the police are coming here to kill you. You have to go, like right now." Police come in.
Ask questions.
They get right. He was like, "I don't even know you." I'm like, "Bro,
how do you think I found you?
Go. If I can find you, they can find you. Leave. Like, get out of here." So he finally gets him to leave. Police barge in. They just see Matt. They get into the whole interrogation. They start beating up on Matt a little bit. And then once they kind of realize, like, well, we're not going to get who we came here for, we can at least take out the lawyer of the person representing of the person representing the person who supposedly killed a cop.
Which was
let's just get him up out of here
again. And I'm sorry to stop you, but I want to point out how idiotic that is. Because again, again, we don't know what guns they had, if they had their service weapons, if they had throwaways, what they had. But at the end of the day, the person that killed an NYPD officer is saying, "Hey, they were attacking somebody. They did this, they did that." And then his lawyer shows up dead. and again, the apartment, I think it would have went back to old buddy, so they would have figured out who he was. They figured out, they knew where it was at, but people would have figured this out. But like, there was no reason to try and, like you said, to kill the lawyer. And one of the cops says it. He's like, "Yo, that's the lawyer though. He can't." He's like, "Well,
yeah, like, yo, that's the lawyer." He's like, "Yo,"
he's like, "I'll do it,"
Yeah,
and Matty, he was getting his ass beat. He was eating some punches for.
He was willingly getting his ass beat.
Let me say that he was willingly. That's what I meant. Because he was not fighting back.
Yeah, he wasn't fighting back.
He was late.
Once he decided to fight back, it got bad.
And again, he don't want to be Daredevil.
Yeah,
he only decided to fight back when they put the gun to his head.
Once they put the gun to his head, he was like, "Well, now you forced my hand. I gotta whoop y'all ass." And he proceeded to whoop their ass all over that apartment. I damn near think he killed them. But
so that's where I left off at, because when he threw Buddy to the ground
and you saw his neck, I was like, whoa. But, I was like, Daredevil was murking niggas now? I didn't know. I didn't know that's what he was doing.
Like Farhan said, we do see a tattoo when they're talking to Matt. When he pushes them up against the wall, there's a tattoo. It's the Punisher symbol. And it does have the blue line, the thin blue line on it. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm glad that we just had this. I want to say it was 2012 that comic book came out, where Punisher basically said, like, if you a cop and you following me, I don't fuck with you.
Yeah.
And now, within the past 5 or 6 years, the Punisher has, in the comics, he had a new symbol, because not only were fucking police copying his symbol, mm-hmm. They were doing Punisher shit.
Yeah.
And Punisher's whole thing is the justice system is not working. He's acknowledged every time that he's gotten caught that he is a bad person. Mm-hmm. He's not a good person. I kill people. It's not no mental health issues there.
I just like ending the lives of people I deem are bad people.
Yeah. and again, the writers of the comic book, they made that switch because there are a lot of cops throughout the country adopting that symbol. Mm-hmm. So they made that story. So like I said, art imitated life at that point, and now it's back to life imitating art.
Life is imitating art.
So they had that symbol. So now we know that, and actually we don't know that they're a gang because we only see one guy with the symbol.
Touche. We don't know they're a gang, but they're operating like a police gang.
We know how police gangs operate.
Yeah, they're operating like a police gang for sure.
Well, so I'm interested to see at what point in this show, because we know he's going to be in this season. Mm-hmm. At what point do he realize, like, oh, these niggas speaking on my name?
I know. I can't wait. I cannot wait for the scene where Punisher realizes police officers are co-opting his symbol. I need that episode ASAP.
Because of all the Punisher we've had, he hasn't killed cops.
Yeah.
That he hasn't killed cops. He's been killing criminals.
He hasn't really killed anybody innocent. Period.
We see him. I'm thinking about Punisher season 1. I don't know if I told you I was rewatching them.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where there's a episode where he goes into an army base, and he does his damnedest not to kill
anybody.
He doesn't. He shoots a guy in the leg at one point. He tells him, like, "Hey, you chase me, you can go get help. If you chase me, your leg is not gonna fucking work after this." Mm-hmm. But I think this feels, this season or these 2 episodes so far, I feel like this is going to be a darker show than it was on Netflix. And again, Netflix was kind of dark.
Very dark.
I feel like this one is going to be dark.
Yeah, no, I kind of got that sense that it almost feels weird to say, but just off the first 2 episodes, I'm like, the brutality already is rivaling a lot of what we already saw in the Netflix show. Like, the most brutal scene I can think of in the Netflix show off the top of my head is the prison fight scene with Punisher. It feels like this show is just kind of going to operate at that level in terms of brutality and try to one up it as much as it can. But that's going to be like the base level brutality we see from a lot of the fight scenes.
And you see, that's not even there. That's not even the person we looking at.
Honestly,
I expect the Punisher to be brutal, but like
with Daredevil, we ain't even seen Punisher yet. It's been all Daredevil. So Punisher hasn't even been in the show yet.
And again, like you said, with comics, when they incorporate the stories into live action, so many things happen in comics. There's so many storylines. So it's interesting. Like I said, like we both think it's going to be darker, but how? Again, I was thinking he was going to be a darker character after Foggy died, and he went a year without being a Daredevil at all. Again, we still don't see him as Daredevil.
Yeah, after that first scene, you don't see him put the suit back on at all. Yeah, at all. I think so far we've gotten a good introduction and a good start. Not only just the setting up, episode 1 of bringing us back into this world, but also episode 2 kind of pushing the story forward and giving us more of who these newer characters are that we're going to be seeing for the remainder of the season. I'm very curious to see where some of these storylines go. I like the fact that some of these newer characters even have ties to older characters we've seen. Like, I love the fact that we got Ben Urich's niece, and I love the fact that she interviewed Fisk. I love that because now you already see where that storyline's eventually going,
and we see that she knows that he had like.
You can tell she knows.
She makes some faces, but I don't. Again, Fisk is such a fucking. I'm powerful. I'm this. I'm that.
Yeah.
He's operating as if like she's just gonna be a pawn for him.
And you could see it when she walked in the room and the questions she started asking him. And like, to your point, the faces she was making, I'm like, even if she doesn't know 100% certainty, she believes Fisk had something to do with her uncle getting killed. Obviously, we know he choked him out. But like, you can tell she has a hunch that Fisk has something to do with it.
And he's operating as if,
well, I'm going to just use her as a pawn. She ain't a problem. Like, she's a problem.
Operating as if, like, people think it was just a robbery. Like, he was just murdered. Like, come on, man.
Like, no, bro. People know something's up. And if you think she's just going to be a pawn that you can use and manipulate throughout the course of the season, I think you're going to be very mistaken when she comes out with the with whatever her news outlet is, when she comes out with the think piece on how messed up of a person Wilson Fisk is. You're going to be real shocked. That's going to be your ass, Mr. Postman. That's going to be your ass. That's all I can say. That's going to be your ass.
How old are you, dog? All right, Grandpa.
I'm a 50-year-old at heart, bro. What you
want?
What's
going on here, man?
What you want, bro? I'm a 50-year-old in a 26-year-old's body. This is not new information.
All right, man.
This is not new information. But all right, that's been our review of Daredevil season 2. Old people references aside. Let us know how you feel about it. Did you like it? How do you feel about it in comparison so far to what you've seen before in the Netflix show? What are you expecting to see going forward? What are you excited to see? No, go ahead. You have something else to say?
No, I said say same thing you said. What are you looking to see? What are you expecting? What are you hoping to
exactly.
see?
Yeah, all of that. We love to hear the discourse, and the back and forth of people giving their thoughts and opinions. So always continue to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. And until next time, it's the Real Fanatics. Peace.